Before I came to South America, I was told one thing over and over again. It's dangerous. It's unsafe. Do not go. And I know now exactly why that is, and I'm going to discuss that in today's video. In the West, you're paying high taxes. There's no freedom of time. People are disconnected. Everything is expensive, and yet nothing feels better. People are stressed and working harder than ever, and yet it feels like you're standing still. Every time you feel like you're getting ahead because you're earning extra money, they impose more taxes, they change the legislation, they increase the cost of living. Get a house and it goes up in value, but so do your rates. You haven't even realised the value because you're not selling it, but you're paying more for the same standard of living. But the standard of living actually goes down because your cost of living goes up. So how do you maintain the level that you had 5 years ago? For me, it only works because I derive my income online through trading. It gives you an opportunity to be able to experience life abroad without having to rely on using your savings, when you can generate an income from anywhere in the world just from simply clicking buy or sell on a laptop. I've got a Discord, the link is in the description below if you want to find out how you can too. The best thing is that there's no boss and no location restriction. And when you double that up with living in a tax-free residency location such as Paraguay, everything you make you keep. And that's the real unlock. Not just moving, but having an income that moves with you. I don't know about you, but they told me that South America was dangerous and not to travel here.
No, I mean, it's beautiful here in Buenos Aires, not dangerous. But
She's got a guard dog though.
What area?
Look at the guard dog.
Depends on what area, right? There's, good areas, there's no problem.
I love just the difference in architecture here, just the history and the age of the buildings. It adds character. People incorporate a little light. It's not done cheaply like a lot of places. You wouldn't think that this is South America from the perceptions that you have on the news in the Western countries and the fear-mongering that they do. I actually love Starbucks coffee here. It's so much better than in Paraguay. Cafe latte grande, leche. So is this the Central Park of Buenos Aires, or what's the go?
Yeah, kind of like that, yes.
The cup is so bloody hot. The coffee is so much better here in Argentina than what it is in Paraguay. I've had 50 coffees in Paraguay and I think only 1 or 2 have been any good. Here, every single coffee has been good everywhere. So good here. Everything's amazing. The food in South America is amazing. I haven't had a bad meal yet either. But check this out, look, the people are on the paddle boats. Freaking hundreds of paddle boats out there. It'd be awesome if you could play like Dodgem cars, demolition derby with the paddle boats right into each other. It's pretty quiet. These trees are like what we've got in Australia in our botanical gardens.
Yeah, they have a rose garden there. Do you see that little German house?
Over there.
Yeah, so
yeah.
the entry is there. You can take a quick look if you want. They've got like nice flowers.
So we're walking with MJ, and what's your dog's name?
Vivi.
Vivi. Say hello.
More recently, there's been, some issues in the Riviera Maya with regards to safety. So
in Canada?
No, in Mexico.
Oh, sorry, Mexico.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because there's safety issues in the West, but there's not safety issues here in South America.
It's quite safe as long as you don't go into sort of the rougher areas, but no one goes into those areas anyways.
Yeah. I haven't thought this through, whether I go and do a video in the favelas of Paraguay.
Oh, yeah, I mean, maybe if you happen to meet somebody who's from there who will convince, people not to do anything sideways.
I've heard good and bad. I've heard don't go in there because they'll rob you and...
Yeah, I mean...
But then I've heard people say that they've gone in there and it's been fine, so I don't know.
I'm sure they'd like this camera.
I was thinking if I can make the video and you'll see the outcome, but if I get robbed, I might not have the camera to make the video. Yeah. The one thing that they haven't done with Paraguay is started restoring buildings. They're much more advanced here in just dodging all the mud. Buenos Aires. It is so beautiful here. People, weather, culture, food, everything. Have not had... I was walking yesterday, I'm actually working on the video at the moment, and I was walking past a guy and he starts doing his hair because he's like, I'd be on film, I have to look good. just walking past, whereas if I was carrying the camera in Australia, people would be like, stop filming me, and they'd bloody get aggressive and angry. South America, everyone's just like, hola, hello, ¿cómo estás? I met MJ through the group of expats that are doing residency for those people that are looking to migrate and get their tax-free residency in Paraguay. And I think it was the first week that we met, and I was going to say I was going to do Spanish lessons, and I haven't done any. We're 6 weeks later and I know about 10 words. Gotta make that a priority. That's going to be the thing that will stop me from spending a lot of time in South America, is my inability to speak the language. And I'm just a very lazy person when it comes to doing things that I don't want to do, or the things that I procrastinate about, or that I don't prioritize, or that I find difficult. I think we all do that in some aspects of our life, but I really got to learn the language.
Statues area in there.
Looks like a cemetery.
With heads?
Well, all those statues would be of people that have died, so what's the difference? Yeah. I thought about hiring one of the bikes. What do you have to do to hire one of those? Do you just tap your card, or?
I haven't actually seen sort of like a bike rental area.
I've seen them everywhere. You just rent them, like you just go up and tap them, and they're on sidewalks and stuff. I mean, who goes out bloody rollerblading? You don't see that. Not in Australia anyway. That's what I'm saying about the family environment. Families walking in the middle of the day, kids kicking a ball. And this is meant to be unsafe.
There's tons of families here. And I chose to live in this area this time during my visit because I have the dog now, right? And I don't want any issues, with safety because, I have the dog. I don't.
Do you have matching leashes depending on what you wear? You have different
right
colour
now
leashes, don't you?
She's got pinks, but we happen to match right now.
Do you know, in Australia they've made electric scooters illegal, and they're coming out with new laws, and if the scooter doesn't have a safety code on it, then you have to scrap them and they're going to be confiscated. What a waste.
So maybe you can show just the view there.
Australia, just such a communist country. And they do things like that because what the government does is they have relationships with private industry, which is their cousins or brothers or sisters or whatever it happens to be, and they give them the contracts to bring in all the scooters with the safety standard bloody sticker on the thing, and then all the politicians that are making these decisions, that are running the government, get the money through their family members that have got these private businesses that have these exclusive relationships. It's like the NDIS. A lot of politicians whose family members run NDIS organisations get all the funding. It's all backhanded, and people talk about corruption in other countries. Australia is worse, or at least no different to what you hear about in other countries that are seen as bad. What do they use this place for?
Well, I think this is like a plaza, but I mean, it's not recent, right? It looks like it was built a while ago.
Look at the stunning bloody walking bridges. There's just freaking water all the way around you. It's beautiful here. It's just a different level, isn't it?
Oh yeah, there's a lot more development here, and places like this that are so beautiful, I believe they were built during the time when Argentina had like a dictator.
She's like, I want to rest.
She's like, yeah, I want to eat the rocks.
How's the architecture? All the scooters. There's nothing more free than riding on a bike, and it's amazing when you don't have to worry about bloody cameras trying to catch you and find you as well. Unlike in the West, there's just that free feeling you have here. Just the amount of parks that they've got everywhere. More over here as well. So this park you must need a permit or something to get in. So maybe we won't show you this one. Looks very nice though.
Do you have like a picture of any like card or whatever? I can't bring her in.
Oh, then no, it's all right. Yeah. So you got to show ID to go in.
Go, but I got the dog. So
yeah.
There's wild animals in there, right?
Oh, wild animals?
Yeah. See.
What do you mean?
There's like monkeys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been alright. Cheeky little monkeys live in that park. Oh, so it's like a free zoo.
Yes, it's quite nice.
Ah,
at some point.
That's cool. So in the middle of.
You can head now if you want.
Nah, that's alright. Like, I'm sure there's YouTube videos you can look up that have this park if you want to see what the wildlife is like. There's a lot of these as well. They go into subways, do they? The stairs into them.
So.
Yeah. It's crazy that these cities that are so old are so advanced compared to Australia. Underground tunnels and good transport and infrastructure and everything else that Australia just simply still does not have. It's crazy just the amount of apartments that are all overlooking this park though. I would be definitely choosing this location if I was to invest here, but you don't want to be living somewhere where the cost of living is high and the taxes are high. And Argentina, with the inflation, the dollar, it just doesn't buy a whole lot, and it's on parity with Australia in the sense of the cost of food and everything really, except for rent. The rent's cheaper, but transportation, food, like eating out particularly, all the collectibles that I've seen thus far, very similarly priced with that of Australia. But for me, it's the tax freedom that you just don't have here, which you do in Paraguay. But the amenities and everything else here shits on Paraguay as far as countries are concerned, with what you're able to do and the development and infrastructure and
So you like
everything.
German stuff, right?
No, not particularly.
There's like a German plaza in there.
Another bloody park. How many parks have they actually got here? It just seems that there's just greenery and open space everywhere you go, even though you got 16 million people around you.
Here's the German plaza, so maybe you want to take a look at it.
I was just thinking, this has got like a Presidente thing or something there. That's right, get out of that so that stops talking to me.
Yeah, I don't know if you're interested in this.
Nah. Hey, are you going to set roots down in any particular country?
I'm not sure.
Very informative.
There was a big change in government. Milei has been in power for 2+ years, and before this I visited for the first time in 2022, and the currency was experiencing sort of rapid inflation. A loaf of bread would be, one day it would be 1,000 pesos, and the next day it would be 2,000 pesos.
You're not the first person to tell me that. Even Uber drivers are saying it's become very expensive here, and that in 2021 you'd be able to buy a coffee here for 50 cents, now it's $5. I don't know what it is that's created that inflationary pressure. I guess it's every country's experiencing it, but yet...
Well, here it was a bit different. So for many years, maybe almost 20 years, it was pretty undervalued, I would say. People would always say, wow, Argentina is so nice, but it's so cheap. And it was. A cup of coffee would be like 50 cents, or a beer would be less than $1, and it was really good quality stuff, right? And, you know, they were playing kind of games with their currency and economic policy, right? And it just couldn't be sustained, right? Like, you know, they were having some issues, and so now they've stopped some of the games, and the price of living here is almost more fair now. The price of the Argentinian dollar, when you pay for things at restaurants, it kind of looks similar to like what the Canadian dollar looks like, and probably not too dissimilar from the Australian dollar now.
Yeah. It's very similar. I just take a zero off basically. If something's like 5,000 pesos here, it's basically $5 in Australia. So that's how it works.
Yeah, exactly. But usually you're getting something better quality here.
Everything here is better quality.
Yeah.
Even the service, I was talking about that. And you know what's funny? Australians, are we going across? She knows where we're going, I don't know where we're going. In Australia, the massive tall poppy syndrome, I did a video talking about how Australians aren't cultured, and it was all the tall poppy syndrome people that were the ones commenting on that video.
It's pretty cool, right?
Imagine having your apartment up there, just looking down at everyone having lunch. What you're seeing here isn't what we've been sold or told about South America. If you're still living in the West, you're probably choosing a harder life than what you need to. People here are just living. They're free to do as they please. There's no government overreach. They're not being fined for walking across the street. We've been sold that living in places like Australia, the UK, America is the dream. But what they don't show you is how much of a dream it is that people in places such as this, Buenos Aires in South America, are actually living. No one actually tells you what it feels like to live in the West these days. Immigration at all-time highs, the lack of freedom of speech, the government overreach. It is not a free feeling being a Western resident anymore. It's not the free feeling that you get being in places such as Buenos Aires, Paraguay, or the other countries that they warn you about not traveling to for fears of unsafety, for example, which simply are not true. In the West, everything is expensive, yet nothing feels better. Oh, check out the 007 cars. I wonder how much these are here. Fast and the Furious. Oh, there's another secondhand shop. It's pretty cool. What are we paying for something like that? $12 for those toys. That'd be $30 in Australia. I love all the nostalgia and collectibles. I'm not buying and selling anymore, but I still can't help but look. I tell myself not to. I catch myself in moments like that where I'm sometimes tempted and I just have to walk away. You notice that people here just have time. There's culture everywhere. There's families walking around speaking. Look at the brand new baby. There was a brand new baby. It was like 2 months old. Just smiles on people's faces. Look at this, they're hugging. Can you be any closer? The real difference here isn't cost, it's what you get for your money. The quality and the expectation that you're sold. Although the cost of living here might not be as cheap as other countries, the quality of what you get for the dollar you spend is far greater than places like Australia. The service is much better. I was talking about the service that I got in yesterday's video. I couldn't believe it. I actually felt obliged to give a tip because I hadn't experienced such quality service, particularly coming from Australia, where everyone's miserable. People here aren't. When you get serviced with a smile and someone's happy, it makes you happy. The last thing you want to be doing is sitting down at a table with someone who's miserable and angry, like many of the middle-aged Karens that are overweight living in the West. Here, the energy is better, the service is better, the food is better. You feel obliged to give someone a tip when you get all of the above. People have a belief that home is best and they have a fear of the unknown, thinking that the system they're in is rewarding them for their loyalty, but it just isn't. Loyalty was a thing that the baby boomers grew up with. People used to only have 1 or 2 jobs in their career. They were loyal to it. These days, people have a job every 6 to 12 months. Loyalty is dead. What if home wasn't where you were born, but it's where you were treated the best? How many people would still reside in their country of origin as opposed to finding a new country that treats them better? This is where people get it wrong. Opportunities, lifestyle, taxes, cost of living, it can be greater. You just need to open your eyes to it. You should design your life like a business. Maybe then it would be better and more successful. Start thinking globally and start questioning everything. What you've been sold is a lie. I'm not saying pack your bags immediately, but once you start traveling, maybe you'll open your eyes to the fact that the 5 p.m. news isn't all true. What I've noticed since relocating to a country that has tax-free residency options for people is that there's a lot of misinformation. I researched other YouTube channels before deciding to take the plunge, and a lot of the information that you're sold is not actually what's happening on the ground. There's also been a number of changes that have happened. There are shortcuts to getting second passports that you can achieve in other countries such as Paraguay. One of them is through a residency by investment where you can invest 200,000 US into real estate, which is a good investment in Paraguay, to get straight permanent residency and bypass the 2 years of temporary residency. People say on their channels that you can get a passport in Paraguay within 2 years of moving there, but it's not the case. It's 2 years temporary residency, 3 years permanent residency, and then once you've got the permanent residency, you need to spend 6 months per year in Paraguay in order to be eligible to apply for the passport, which then takes another 1 to 2 years to be approved if you meet the criteria and pass their local tests. A lot of this information is just not informed to people online because they want to make it seem easier so that you invest your money with them and they'll get a sale. I also work with a firm of lawyers that have been in the industry for over 10 years and that have done thousands of residency applications. So if that's something that might be of interest to you, check out that link in the description below. People talk about bad areas, but what country doesn't have one? You just don't go to them if they're bad. Don't put yourself in unsafe situations. To give you an idea about the prices here in Buenos Aires, you're looking at Australian prices, so you just take off a zero. Hola. Do we order here? Gracias. So, for example, scrambled eggs are $26. Instead of $26,300, it's $26 Australian. So most meals here are $20, $30, $40. The cost of living isn't as cheap as what you would assume, but the quality of life is much better. Where you live literally changes who you become. The pace, the culture, the people around you, it rewires you and the way you think. And you know, if you don't like your life, it might not even be you. It might be where you are. I've got my own private security. Did she see me? Gracias. Yes. That woman's looking at me. She can see the back of the GoPro. Look at this. This is bacon, eggs and fries. I've never had this before. Nice combination, I'm hoping. And the coffee they actually bring out like as a long black, iced, and then you pour your own milk in. Something a little bit different. Roll me out some bread. So this was 40 Australian, but I've never had this. My mouth's salivating for it already. It's actually a really good combination. This is so good. Not exactly healthy with the chips, but when I think of places that are unsafe, I think of places like Melbourne with the continuous machete attacks, London, America. There's so many unsafe places, yet no one warned you about these places. They warn you about places such as this, which are 10 times more safer. You have police on most street corners. You have police that are able to enforce the law. You don't have the amount of crime here that you do in many of the Western locations. But the news in your location never highlights this to their local people. They highlight the warnings of other countries because they don't want you to leave yours. Is that the same couple that was kissing where we were before? There's a lot of romance here in the air. I thought that was like a Davidoff statue. Oh look, there's one there too. These are like the gods or something maybe. I'm inside the building now. Come for a quick little walk. I don't know where all those doors go to, but look how freaking tall this building is. Wow. I feel safer walking here. More alert, more present, more aware, and yet look at the amount of buildings everywhere. 16 million people all live here. And I gotta say, for those bros looking to meet a lady, there's no shortage of attractive women here in Buenos Aires. I've only been to 8 countries, but I can tell you right now, you're not gonna be disappointed with the amount of attractive women that are living here in Buenos Aires. There is something about Argentinian women that you'll just love. There's a lot of things about them that you'll love, I can tell you that. Back home, people are stressed, they're distracted, they've just checked out mentally. They call it presenteeism. They might be there in body, but they're not in mind. You'll have a conversation with someone and they'll be doom scrolling on their phone, and you'll have to repeat yourself because they're just not listening. In places like Australia, people rely on the system, welfare. Like Aboriginals, 70% of them or more live on government handouts. Places like here, people have to rely on themselves to get by. And when people rely on themselves rather than their government, that makes them more sharper, not more at risk. People have been sold a lie that Western countries are the safest and best places to live, but after coming from one, Australia is neither. Think about the trade-offs. Higher taxes, higher pressure, less freedom. People are mentally exhausted. Here, people might have less, but they live more. Voila. So what actually is more dangerous? A place with risk or a place that you don't enjoy? Nobody tells you that before you come to South America, people here are warmer, they're more patient, they smile at you, they're more giving. Strangers talk to you, they smile at you, they help you. Here, people make eye contact. Back home, they don't. The amount of eye contact you make with people, and all you need to do is just smile. If you make eye contact in Australia, people look away or they look down. They will look anywhere but at your eyes. They won't smile, they won't acknowledge you. Here, it's the opposite. It also instigates conversations. Hola, ¿cómo estás? How are you? Pleasantries, simple things that have been lost in Western society. Everyone's just too busy living in their own bubble, but not here. It's a weight off feeling, like there is no weight on your shoulders here. The coldness that you experience in the West feels far worse than any dangers they warn you about in South America. Some of the warnings about Buenos Aires is don't walk alone, don't hold your phone, don't hold a camera. All I've been doing for 3 days is all of the above. People are riding past me, I'm not having to look over my shoulder. He must have understood English then because he looked back. There's not a problem at all here. And what they warn you about here is no different to what any other country experiences. The grass isn't always greener on the other side, but I can tell you if you come here, maybe the grass will be greener. Maybe you'll see it for your own eyes. You just gotta climb the ladder, look over your neighbour's fence and see how green it could be. I don't know what it is that people are so fearful, the media is so fearful about when saying how dangerous they see South America to be? Because is it that they're afraid everyone will pack their bags and leave and they won't have any taxpayers left? Stories that they feed us, is it in your interest or is it in theirs? It's how we've been conditioned. We've been conditioned to think and act and do and speak a certain way. We're told certain places are unsafe and others are safe. Just because we're told something doesn't make it to be true. And who decides that? Is it the media? Is it the government? Is it people that have actually never even been there? It's like they say, teachers are those that fail. That's why they teach. If someone could do, they wouldn't need to teach. The amount of people that are living here, it's kilometers and kilometers and kilometers of apartments everywhere. Fear is one of the biggest tools used to keep people in place. We all know from the events that happened years ago. They're doing a 2.0 of that right now with the different things that we see on the media, but how much of it's true? What stands out to me here isn't fear, it's not danger. It's how relaxed and calm and happy people are. It's the energy. People are more present, more open, more happy, more alive. Look at all the dogs. This must be a dog park. Hello. What's the go? People just leave their dogs here maybe. There's so many of them. There's freaking dogs everywhere. Look at this one. They're just sitting there looking. What's going on? Some of them are on leashes and others aren't. I wonder, maybe people come and leave their dog and go to work. I don't know how it works, but there's all different gates where people have got dozens of dogs. Hola. It's cool. Even something as simple as sitting at a cafe. Yesterday, I think I was sitting down for an hour and a half and I looked around and everyone had exited. I was like the last person there. It was 3:30 in the afternoon. I got there, it was busy. There was no tables available. Things here just aren't rushed. People here sit and talk, they connect. We've sort of lost that in Australia. Everyone's on their phones with their heads down, not paying attention to their surroundings and conversations that people are trying to have. As a parent, you'll know if you've got children and you try and talk to them, how they aren't listening, and absenteeism, presenteeism, people are or aren't there. People don't go out of their way for you. The culture is different. Dogs everywhere, all having a field day. The common theme in Australia that you get for your hard work is stress, burnout, repetition. There's no reward for hard work. You're taxed 10 times before you get to keep $1. We all live in the same world, but yet each country offers a different experience, a different way of life. It's the same world, but it's a different experience. I thought to me, it was the freedom that I was pursuing that I wanted to make me happy. But after getting the freedom, being in South America, I realized there's much more to it. It's not the cost of living. It's not the zero tax. It's not that I'm going to get fined if I do 5 kilometers over the speed limit. It's not that I don't have to watch over my shoulder in fear of safety. It's how happy people are. People form your experiences, good or bad. And when you're around happy people, you can't help but be happy. Just try this. Next time you walk past someone, smile at them. See how they react. Here, people smile back. I'm doing the Rocky Balboa. These stairs are much fun. Start something today so you can change your life tomorrow. Once I stopped thinking locally and started thinking globally, that's when things changed for me. I started watching YouTube content, seeing how happy other creators were, traveling the world, thinking, what am I doing sitting here in my little hometown? I just realized while that fence is down, I've walked to nowhere. Maybe I'll go back this way. When I started making money online and I was sitting in my hometown, I was thinking, what am I doing here? I'm from South Australia where there's only 1 million people and most work 9 to 5 and are doing the daily grind. I was looking at YouTube and seeing how other people were living their lives. I had all the time in the world because trading gives you that. And there was really nothing that was stopping me from going. My kids had moved out of home and I thought it's time that I get to live. I felt stuck. I hadn't seen the world. I traveled to 6 countries before I came to Paraguay and now to Argentina. But I want to see a lot more. I want to form my own opinions and not live my life through what others tell me. The thing is, you can too. Location freedom, time freedom, financial freedom. These are all things that make a quality of life. You don't need a different life. You just need a different location. One thing I've noticed since traveling around South America is I've started to think differently. You've got all the stresses out of your head and the free feeling of not having so many worries or concerns. There's just something to the way and quality of life you can experience once you get to forget and leave all the pressures that you have in the West behind you. Once you get rid of all the pressures, suddenly you can't help but think differently. We're conditioned and trained not to think for ourselves. We've become accustomed by the routine of life. Most people think that they're making choices, but they're actually not. They're just following the path that they've been trained to. Everyone has the same job path, the same housing path, the same timeline. I don't know if it's just me being a traveler here, but there doesn't seem to be the competition of your neighbors amongst people here. There's no arrogance about people. How are you living your life? Is it your idea? Is it your decision? Got my phone telling me where to go. The biggest trap isn't being broke, it's being comfortable. Comfortable enough not to leave, and comfortable enough to tolerate things that you don't like. And that's the zone where people stay stuck for decades. I sure did. Some of us are just trapped. You have a wife, you have kids, you have a job, you have a mortgage. It's hard to escape that. It doesn't matter what, actually they pay phone boxes. Or they're just novelty showing the history. It doesn't matter what time of the day you walk around, there's always cafes that are full of people just living and enjoying life here. Well, that's my opinion anyway. I'll leave this video over here if you want to hear more of them. What do you agree or disagree with?